Question for you. What does The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Limbo, Metal Gear Solid, and Ice Climbers have in common?
Shh, don't excite him. Don't make him excitable.
Nothing. Until now.
Have you lost your mind?
I want to take these core concepts to create my dream game. So let me paint a little picture for you. Imagine a kid, a regular Charlie from the Mighty Ducks type. Charlie here has a slingshot because, he's a kid, but unfortunately for Charlie, the world is ending.
Huh? This is a bummer, man. That's a bummer.
Like, really ending, though. Like, a meteor's falling from the sky. Ending. Fortunately, though, for our main character and the world, hope rests in a mountain set before him, though it is surrounded by the enemy. There's obviously a little bit more to it, but that is the base idea around my game. With storytelling, characters have always been the most compelling aspect to me. Whether it's Captain America's internal struggle with his beliefs over his loyalty to his country in Captain America's Winter Soldier, Ellie finding a father figure in Joel in The Last of Us, or even Andrew and Kefi. I know I butchered their names, but the fact that they choose to focus on their love instead of the doom around them from the end of the world from Majora's Mask is just an amazing story beat. These stories choose to focus on their characters, and that's why I believe they're just so passionately loved today. And notice how two of the references I just made were from video games. Video game and their stories have come such a long way. Who'd have thought we'd even be here right now? As you can probably tell, I love telling stories. This is a video game after all, and gameplay is arguably more important. So with that being said, from a gameplay perspective, I really want to focus on being a kid up against the adults that have let this terrible scenario happen. So instead of going in guns blazing like you would in any other game, you would need to approach these situations from a different perspective. Like, for instance, pushing a barrel down a hill to take out an enemy, or just sneaking past them altogether in order to avoid confrontation. So I'm thinking the best genre to execute this idea would probably be the 2D side-scroller. Even though I know it's saturated, I think it's just a great way to tell this story, as well as fluidly portray the mechanics. So think Zelda puzzles, but in 2D goodness. Another great reason to go the 2D side-scroller route is that there's tons of support out there, as well as options on the Asset Unity store. And what I mean by tons of support on YouTube, Unity really supports it as well. There's just so much out there to help us out here. I'll be honest, I'm not the best artist out there, so I am more than happy to rely on the community to actually finish a project. I've finished a few projects, but I want this to be my most ambitious, I put that in air quotes, project yet. And I don't want it to take 5 years to make, only for it to look like a 5-year-old drew it at the end of it. I want it to be professional looking in every way I can make it. So with that being said, I will be using a pre-made character controller for the same reasons previously mentioned. I will make adjustments where needed, but I feel really good about this controller. Huge shout out to Thomas Brush who made this thing. It's got so much, and I've only just scratched the surface of what it has to offer, so I'm super pumped to get into it. It's called the Super Simple 2D Game Kit. It's quite the tongue twister, but it's free and is a godsend, so check it out. So like I said, it's huge. There's a lot here. Even after taking a look at it for a few hours, I'm still no closer to understanding everything that's here. But the joyful realisticness of game development is that you definitely don't need to know everything in order to move forward, which we're going to anyway. So the first thing I want to do with this is change out the character, just because I feel like it'll help my brain start to picture what the rest of it will look like. By the way, I did not make this character. This character was made by my partner in crime on this project, Greg, who is super amazing and talented, and you're not allowed to have him. That said, he'll be helping me out with art on this project, as well as providing some of the music. I'll link his stuff in the bio. He's, like I said, super talented and has a whole bunch to offer. So after probably like a full day of working with this character controller, I finally got it switched out with my own character, and let me tell you this, it is such a great feeling. I know we're all about honest game dev here, but let me tell you, you do not want to sit through like 3 hours of me trying to figure that out. I am a tad worried about the future of our character here, but I feel good about where it's at right now, and I think he's looking good. Last thing I want to do for this video before we end it is change up the scene a little bit to maybe fit the setting of our first level, which is going to be underground. So while this isn't what it's going to look like per se when we're done with our game, it'll be for now a good representation of what we want it to look like. So I downloaded a cool cave pack from the asset store. By just like adjusting some of the colors and scaling of the assets, we can make them look more distinct for the game. If you want me to go into more depth on this process and what I do, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to make a video about it. But making assets your own is key to using them, because you never want to asset flip. You want to make them your own and not just copy and paste. But I am happy with this start. I feel like we made a lot of progress in just learning about what this is going to be. So yeah, please consider subscribing. We have a ton of content in the works. We're super excited about what's coming. You're not going to want to miss it. So subscribe below, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, you know, everywhere, because you're not going to want to miss it. So again, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.